can't hear us yet. So, but we now, it looks like, are completely live on Facebook. Thank you, Robert, for taking us live on Facebook.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Clyde?
Thank you for taking us live on Facebook, Robert. I'm going to exit stage left. Goodbye. So I don't know what's going on. Clyde decided to leave, so I'm going to steal the show because this is like what I like to do. And now I'm going to lock the room so Clyde can't come back in. So it's you're stuck with me now. Anyways, so tonight we have a very special Q&A section. So typically we just do the open mic night where you guys can come in and ask questions, but we've been getting a lot of questions with, you know, curiosity of experienced light controllers and that, and people, everybody in this hobby, although you should start now building for next year, they'll start now building for this year, which is totally wrong. But anyways, so we get a lot of questions right now about what controllers we buy, what controllers do what, is this controller good, is this controller, so what we decided to do.
We haven't gone live on YouTube yet, so you're going on yet. I don't know how I got kicked out of the room,
That's
but
okay.
unless you did something.
No, I didn't do anything. But
so
anyway.
so stop. Let me go live on YouTube first before you keep going on.
Okay.
All right.
Everybody in Facebook, man, you're not.
No,
you just pause.
So good evening, everybody.
No,
on
pause.
YouTube.
Facebook.
No,
you heard
good
it
evening.
live from Clyde. You're not.
I'm muting.
Pause.
Okay, so good evening, everybody that is on YouTube. This is Clyde.
Oh, YouTube! I'm so glad you joined us.
Well, they can't hear you now, Rob. So you're just
the redheaded
blabbing.
stepchilds of Facebook don't matter.
Anyway, welcome to the PPD live stream. This is Clyde here, and I'm with Robert, and I'm going to switch the screen over so you can see Rob's face right there. So on YouTube, now they can see you, Rob. I'll go ahead and unmute the microphone. We had a little, I don't know, a glitch right as soon as we went live.
I'm
but
so
in any
glad
event,
you're here, YouTube, because you held up the entire show because Clyde said, whoa, whoa, whoa. My YouTube people are not here, not among us. Facebook, you can unpause now. It's like that movie with Adam Sandler. It's like, okay, we got the remote, you're back on. And so what I was saying before I was really cut off because you didn't exist here, YouTube, was a lot of people, they tend to wait to the last minute, which, you know, right now we should be building for the next year, not this year, but it is what it is. So one of those questions that you get is not only what pixels do I buy? Should I buy 5 volt? Should I buy 12 volt? What is 24 volt? Oh, should I just get regular lights from Walmart because they're starting to come out because we completely skipped Halloween, Thanksgiving, and everything else. But one of those other questions is, what controller should I buy? Do I need a controller? How do I make these lights actually blink? So what we thought we would do a little bit different today with the Q&A session is we would actually bring one of the top controller manufacturers into the PPD open mic night and allow them to allow him, the counter partner isn't here. That's the actual one that's working. David has all the free time in the world, but Lee is probably back, you know, packing orders, programming more stuff, making the controllers actually work. But David's going to tell you that's all him that does that. But anyways, David is here with us from Experienced Light Controllers, and he's going to explain to you about how his controller works, what makes it different than others, what makes it similar than others. Is there a huge curve? Do you need FPP? That's always the biggest question. Any new controller comes out, people say, oh, do I have to put FPP on it? David's going to explain all that to you, so I'm not going to take any time from him. And I'm going to throw the microphone or the spirit stick over to David. He's on this side of me. Here you go, David. You now have this. Oh, it'd have been so much better if you'd had.
I tried. I didn't do it fast enough. Well, thank you for that nice intro, Rob. Yes, Lee is, so it's very big news, actually. We just got a new warehouse. We are moving in presently. It's been a big deal over the last few weeks, getting everything moved in, getting logistics set up. We have new staff for pack outs. So Lee is very, very busy, just getting all that stuff worked out. He wanted to be here, couldn't make it happen. So you get me instead.
So again, Lee's doing all the work and David's just here sitting in his little room with his messed up peace signs, but it's okay.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, well, let's start out with what you said last is, do you need FPP? So the thing that, we always try to tell people is like, this is not a cape. The Genius controllers, these are standalone controllers, just like a Falcon or Advitech or an AlphaPix. Those are standalone controllers that do not require separate hardware to do their thing. They're not a Pi hat. They're not a BeagleBone cape. Miner, what's a cape? Okay, Miner is asking what's a cape. He's just being facetious, but I'm going to answer it. So a Pi hat or a BeagleBone cape, those are items that you put on top of a single board computer, which is these small computers that kind of sit in your hand. They have USB, they have Wi-Fi, they have kind of the full stack of a computer with Linux on them, and they typically run FPP. And you'll see controllers that sit on top of those that take advantage of the hardware to output as a controller. Whereas Genius controllers, they're standalone controllers. You still need a player, something to play your content. And that could be xSchedule, that could be straight out of xLights, that could be FPP. So you might need FPP as your show player, but you will not need FPP on this device. These controllers do not run FPP, Bobby. No, he's also being silly. These run 100% custom firmware that was written by us in-house. Yeah, so I hope that clears that up. There's no FPP on these devices, but you may need FPP for your show player if that's what you're using to play the show. And judging by the fact that Robert didn't, I'm just going to keep going.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did I miss something?
No. I just thought you were gonna, continue the banter, but that's fine. I'll fill the space. So you also
You're a
mentioned
child actor. You should. It's your time for your monologue. Like this is your time.
That's right. When I was young, no, I'm not going to do the monologue. So let's talk about the idea behind Genius. We've talked a lot on here too about what our core principles is don't make me think. We try to remove features, not add features. We try to create the simplest products possible and make them cost effective. So we want them to be easy, powerful, but not over the top with features. Too many features creates bugs, too many features creates quality assurance issues, too many features creates confusion over what your product actually is. So when you see our products as a controller, it's going to control lights. That's it. It is going to take in DDP data. It's going to take in E131 data, and it's going to output lights. And that's it. So we very much make purpose-driven hardware. We don't try to throw in the kitchen sink with every product that we have. You see that with Pixel to AC3, Pixel to servos. It's like, this is a piece of hardware that does one thing. Pixel to DMX does one thing and it does it well. And that's the philosophy that we have just as a core principle. So for our Genius Pro line, we wanted to take it a step further and say, how can we make this even easier for, primarily commercial was the idea, for the target customer for the Pro line, but it's something that we thought everybody would be able to benefit from. And that's what we came up with Genius Pro. And the biggest change with Genius Pro that you'll notice is obviously it's a much bigger PCB, much bigger form factor, because you mount the power supply directly to the board. And so we're patent pending on this right now for the power supply mounting to the circuit board. And you have these little removable tabs, and you just twist them out, and you can stack two circuit boards high. And I'm sorry, I don't have an example of that here with me. Or for the 32 port, you can actually do four power supplies on their end side by side. And what's nice about these is they already have the hole patterns for the specific enclosures that they're supposed to go into. So we have two form factors. We have the 32 port, which I call this a mega tree in a box, because quite literally you just drop this in a box, hook up your pigtails, and you're done. It's really, really simple. And then all the rest of the Pro line, whether it's receivers or, this is the 16 port receiver, 16 port controller, 8 port receiver, 4 port receiver, all of the Pro line that is not the 32 have the exact same footprint, and they fit in 3 different enclosures. The CG 1500, the RNI 1500, and a bud box number that is escaping me. It's a question that we get quite often, is what enclosures these go into. And that is my fault. We haven't had time to get everything. We've been really, really busy. So we haven't had time to get all of the website up to date with what those numbers are. But we will very, very shortly. Documentation is
32032 or something like that.
That sounds correct. Yes, that sounds correct.
Or a 32026.
Maybe it's 32022 is yeah.
So a couple of things that I noticed when you were holding up those boards, was one, they have wires already attached to them. So I assume that's so they go straight to the power supply, and it's super easy just to, now do those wires already soldered on and everything? It comes just how you have it in your hand?
Exactly right. Yeah. So it comes with the wires pre-soldered on that go to the respective circuits automatically.
Those are some thick solder traces.
Yeah. This can carry
Typically you don't, so just observations, and I saw that is typically the solder traces that you have aren't that thick. They're usually, they use the, what do you call that? The silk of the board, and they have the imprints.
Yeah, well, it's not the silk, but yeah, it's usually the mat, the solder mask is covered, right? And it's this has a 1.5 millimeter thickness on all of the traces.
So how many amps can that run? Just out of curiosity.
We underrate what it can actually do. Is actually quite a bit more. But we tell people 25 amp per bank is like the safe number.
So you're using 12 gauge wire?
So this the first batch that we had came out with 14 gauge, which quite frankly is probably more than enough, because it's very, very short wires. The new version, I shouldn't say the new versions, the next batch that we have that's on the way, those are all 12.
Well, and just not to cut you off, David, but in saying that too, typically people run 12 gauge wire to, so typically you hook it to a power supply and you run it to one input, and that's it. This here is hooking to the power supply numerous times.
You could do that, right? You could hook all of these to one power supply. Yeah. Or you could, well, you wouldn't do that for the 32 though. You'd have a pretty big power supply. But you could do that, or separate power supplies. And the question there was, someone was asking about the 30. Yeah, so it can do the 350 watt mean well or the 600 watt mean well. If you're doing the vertical, the 4 vertical, that would only fit the 350s because the 600 is thicker. If you wanted to do 2 600s, you could stack those up, and then you do 2 on one and then 2 on the other.
I see John Pappas, he's showing off his controller porn.
So the really nice thing I
see he's got a controller, but he doesn't have Evo pixels, just saying. But go ahead.
Those come the day after tomorrow, jerk.
Yeah, the Evo pixels are pretty rad.
Woo!
Wow. Oh, that's not going away anytime soon. You'll get it, Jai. Don't worry. You'll get them. You're gonna get them. I can't believe you ain't got them yet, but okay.
So no, they're coming Thursday. I got it from UPS, so we're good to go. Complaints are gone.
That was the problem. John, a question was, what box is that you did use?
Well, it's fortunate that Miner's on the call as well, because that is your Pixel Store's medium box.
My Pixel Store? No, I'm joking.
Yours.
Yeah, these
so it's like a who's on first, what's on second type thing. So something else I noticed, David, is I have these connectors on mine that I have to push in. Those connectors don't look that way.
Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, as far as so this goes back to our trip to China. Actually, one of the primary reasons we went out there was to go to this component market, the electronics market, and just try to find cool stuff. It's where we found our power supply that allows us to do the full gamut, 524 volt, with 0 dropout on the 5 volt, which is the only line to do that. Full 24 support, 24 full volt support with the e-fuses on each output, so you can configure what the current limit is, turn them on and off, do all that fancy stuff without any fuses. So it's a completely fuseless design. Our supply was a big find. The current limiters, or excuse me, the e-fuses were a big find. These terminal switches, when we went to China, we're like, if we find a better solution for this, the whole trip is worth it. And we found these guys in some random market. And obviously we customized them just a little bit for the board so that it would be color coded for the non-colorblind people like Rob. But black is fine, right? Black comes through differently for you, Rob?
Yes. I it's like that one movie, Many Shades of Gray.
Right. So these, to not sound too dramatic, will change your life. These, every time I use them, I get more and more excited about them because they are the easiest connector, period. They can do extremely fine, small wire, no problem. You just stick it in, and it is super strong. I did like one thread, just to test it, and it was still tight, and it can do up to, I think, like 16 gauge, something like that. It's pretty big. So it can take a wide range of different sizes of wire, but the whole size, let's see if I have another. Yes. You compare the whole size to our spring connectors. Look at the difference of the whole size. It's just much bigger.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It just makes it way easier to push the wires in. And I just, whenever I'm doing changes with the controller, or doing debugging or testing, I dread it, just having to move stuff around. But with this guy, you can kind of do all three at once. You just, I don't know how easy it is to see. You just stick all those in,
Yep, we can
close
see it.
and then it's done. Like when you're building a system in a box, this just makes it so much easier, because I keep telling people, like, from a product perspective, I always, when we're releasing a product, and Lee's not here to say, it's like, I ask him, I'm like, okay, when you're testing it, did it bring you joy? And it sounds like such a stupid, cheesy phrase, but it's something that we always like. Does it bring you joy? And if something that you're doing, a product that you're releasing, brings you joy, that's when you know you're doing something right. It's not that it works. It's not that it's okay. Does it bring you joy? Click-It's version 2 brings me joy. Like these lever locks, they bring me joy. Like every time I use them, I get excited and happy. And that's how I know that it's going to be a winner. I tell people, when you use these lever locks, it's life-changing. It's so much easier.
Oh, I can vouch for that. 100%. I'm in the midst of building one now, and those lever locks are amazing.
Oh,
Just make sure you come in straight down and you're good to go. You're saving tons of time connecting pigtails.
A question I have with those, David, is just the other day in the xLights group, I saw that somebody asked if do you cut the solder off the pigtails when you buy them? Do you just use copper? Do you know what I mean? Now, with those being a spring lock, if you would use the soldered ends and not cut them off, and I know we all like to cut them off and use just a pure copper, but if you would leave the soldered tips on there, would it continue to stay tight even as they loosened up from the heat of the current, or would you have to open them up and re-lock them again?
No, it's not coming. When it's closed, it will not come open until.
So even if that wire shrinks a little bit in there because of the solder, it'll still go in tight and keep holding it, even though.
Yeah, I need to do a little
I'm
diagram.
just curious on that.
Yeah,
I didn't know
no,
if it was more like a vice grip of like when you clamp down, like it grabs and you'd have to open it up and re-grab again, or how it worked internally.
It would be extremely difficult It'd be weird circumstances for that to come over on its own. I mean, we do the spin test, which is we attach one pigtail and we spin it in the air and see if it'll come off. It's
I think
very
you sold me that controller board. No, I'm joking.
yeah, probably did. No, but I love seeing like the picture that I think was that John Papa sent of his controller. Yeah, John Papa's. It looks so clean. When you look at this board with the power supplies mounted on it, with the cords coming in, it creates such a clean install because all you have to do, like you're attaching the power supplies, everything outside of your enclosure, right? So it's done, right? This is done. And you drop it in your box, and the only thing you have to do is attach pigtails. And that's like so you talk about people that shouldn't be building their shows right now. We're going to be putting out a video of how you can go from zero to light show with this in so short of a time, because you buy your sequences from PPD, upload the outputs from xLights directly to the board. It configures it for you, which we can walk through that because I actually have things wired up here. It's so fast. It's so fast. And again, the mantra, don't make me think, right? It just makes things a lot easier. And we do have, stay tuned, we do have a deal for everybody that's on this call. So if you do want to get a controller, we're going to offer something exclusive to people that are here on this call.
Woo! That's exciting.
Yeah. But you're going to have to stop the live stream because it has to be in the room.
It almost.
So here that wait. So I'm sorry to interrupt, Rob, but for the folks that are on YouTube and on Facebook, that's a clear sign that you need to jump in the Zoom room now, because there will come a time whenever Dave's going to say, okay, that's everything for tonight. We're going to say thank you, and Zoom and Facebook Live are going to end. So jump in now. Okay,
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's
Don't
fine.
worry,
That's
he'll
fine.
probably still leave it live for his YouTube.
No,
because they're the
I
golden
won't.
Down.
No,
it's okay.
No.
I completely lost track because
Yeah.
Clyde interrupted with his YouTube-ness.
Demonstrating uploads.
Okay, so
Yeah, let's demonstrate an upload.
Real quick. I'm sorry. YouTube question come through on YouTube. Was the 8-port a controller or a receiver? I think that was a receiver.
Receiver.
Genius
Yep.
receiver.
Yeah,
Okay.
we currently don't have any 8-port controllers other than the Dragon 8-port controller from Mattis Designs, which has our technology inside.
Gotcha. All right, good deal. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, by the way, and Facebook, because I'm watching Facebook too, you can put questions in chat. I'll try to answer them for you too. Go ahead.
The other thing that I forgot to mention, we talked about, we have always, we don't like to rebuild things that exist. We like to create new things, right? And we like to innovate and create things that people haven't seen before, like this is, you've never seen this before, right? Current monitoring, pixel counting, failure detection, like all that stuff. Those are innovations that we really, really pride ourselves on. And the Genius Pro line is no different. That's why we integrated so many new features in this. The lever locks, though, every new product, you want to make sure that it works and it's good and it's got positive feedback. We've had 100% positive feedback with these. So likely that these are going to be moving back to the standard Genius Pixel 16 as well.
Does that mean there will be a change to the footprint of the board, the size of the board?
We
Because
try
those
to
are much
keep
bigger.
They are much bigger, and I have sized it, and it should be possible. I try to keep the footprints the same if I can, but yeah, we'll have to see. I have very high hopes, not high hopes, very high confidence that these are going to be a cleared runaway winner. And we will incorporate these in our 16-port controller. When will the future remote monitoring be available? That is a great question. So there's two questions in the pixel failure. So we have a resource that we've been using to do the mobile app and monitoring development. They have a new opportunity. I'm trying to get that all coordinated. I want that to all be, the failure detection stuff is in there and it's going to be released very shortly. The standalone is going to be released shortly. The remote monitoring is at risk. I think that it's going to happen. There's a lot of stuff going on, so I need to verify that. But that is at risk, I think, for this year, because the resource that was working on that had to go to another opportunity. So great questions, though. We are releasing a new firmware version very soon for all of this to incorporate, like I said, the ability to schedule standalone animations from an SD card and sync packets to play local animations from the board, so you don't send it all over the network, as well as just general improvements to the UI. So we try to really put everything through its paces before we release stuff. So we are actively, like I was saying, I'm working on the firmware stuff like right now, trying to get this all wrapped up so we can do official release. And then throughout the season, we do much more rapid releases of the firmware as we get feedback from people. For instance, Jeff Tell, I think he's on the call. He's like random little thing, and I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. He's like, when you download the config file, it says, it stores it as config.json. It sounds so small, but it's like when you have a light show like he does, which is like 2 million lights, all these controllers that he has a bunch of long range controllers from us. And he needs to download all those config files. Well, they're all named the same thing. So naming them according to their IP address or their name. So we're going to have that in the next release as well.
That's a fantastic idea, actually.
Yeah, and the thing that I like about those types of features, because like I said, we don't like to add features, right? But if the feature is something that just intuitively makes sense, like that I don't need to train anyone on that. I don't need to write documentation on that. It's just going to be very clear and very easy, and makes sense when you download it. It's going to be unique to that controller.
Correct. There's something to be said for having a controller go down and be able to slot one in its place and upload the same configuration from it without having to do anything crazy.
Yep. Now, I forgot one other feature that we haven't talked to anyone about except for the people that have pinged us. The OLED on all of the Pro boards, the OLED, if you see the thing that mounts the OLED here, you can actually rotate it, remove it from the, if you remove the OLED and you rotate it, you can mount it to, ooh, I got mail. You can mount it to the, this guy. And so depending on how you've mounted your board in your enclosure, you can actually rotate the OLED so it's right side up.
So your orientation for the OLED can match whatever setup you have in your box.
Correct, the physical, yep. Why do we need an OLED? That is a great question. So,
well, we learned that 2 years ago on this call.
I think you could say everybody that's probably on this call was a huge contributor into with pitchforks and torches and whips and chains. And I think Lee was pretty much like, OLED it is. Or no, who?
Look, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but I was pro OLED the entire time. So I'll just say that. But Lee came to the light side, the OLED side, so we're all good. But what's really cool, and we're so behind on education, right? We know that we need to really get the ball rolling on education and a lot of stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that we have in these things that people don't even know about still. But like the receivers, the pro receivers, the really cool thing about this is it gives you all the diagnostic information of what's going on the wires on a per wire basis on the OLED. So it'll tell you how many pixels are configured for other receivers. That's not even this one. Like you can see all of that information. It decodes the data that's coming in, and you can see all of the data on the OLED of how it's reading all that information. So from a diagnostic standpoint, this is fantastic. You can set the brightness. You can set persistent test mode. So if you put this up to a tree in a park and you don't even want data coming in, you can just set test mode on and just leave it. And every time it comes on, it will default to that same test mode. Put it on a timer where it shuts power off to the board. It'll remember that it was in test mode, come back up, same test mode, same brightness, and it will just stick. So if you wanted just a standalone like animation, because the animations on these are pretty sexy, you could set this up just in test mode and let it run, and it'll just stay there. The QR code on the OLED makes it really, oh yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. So Humbert says he doesn't like the QR code. So I'm going to address that. This is the perfect example of, there's 100 ways to skin a cat, right? We could present the IP, and to the very technically inclined, that would make perfect sense that they need to, connect to the network, go to that IP address, or go to the Wi-Fi network, enter in the username and password, go to an IP address, things like that. The QR code is for the people that are less technically inclined, right? So the idea is make it as easy as possible. So the hope is that when you're using your mobile phone, that it just makes it much easier rather than having to type in all the information, the Wi-Fi network, the Wi-Fi password, all that stuff, right? However, having advanced tools or advanced configuration where you could say, hey, I don't ever want that QR code, I'm totally fine with all that. In theory, I'm fine with that, as long as it doesn't require extra training, right? So I like to hide as much as possible by default. A lot of people don't realize that there is actually, let me share my screen. That there's actually this little configuration here. You can hide columns that you're never going to use. If you never use reverse, take it away. If you never use gamma, take it away. If you never use nulls, take them away. Now, again, we market this as an advanced feature that not everybody's going to use, but look how much cleaner the UI is already. So if you know what you're doing, this is a great way to clean up your UI, but it's not presented for everybody, right? It's something that is just if you are a power user to use it.
Hey,
now,
if you keep going, it's going to turn into an alpha pix or a Hinks pix where you don't see anything.
Yeah, you can hide as much as you want, right? Now, the nice thing about this is if you have a very simple setup, which many people do, where you're just dealing with pixel counts and brightness, maybe that's all you need to see. But the reason that this is confusing to someone that's new, for instance, is just because I've hidden gamma doesn't mean that it's not still there, right? It could still be applying a gamma change, but now I've hidden it, so I will never see that. And if I have issues or reverse, so if I have issues like why is this chain going backwards, then you don't see the column, so you might get confused there. So again, we kind of execute that away. That's a long-winded way of saying we do add features as long as there's something that are kind of for the advanced user, tucked away. It's there if you need it, but we really push the ease of use and want not even the 80-20, but the 90-10, 95-5 rule is like what's going to work for most people, and kind of go that route.
It may be, and I'm not trying to add quirks to your controller, but I was just saying and thinking it may be just a simple statement that you make on that page when you're hiding something, that you can only hide something if nothing is used. But then if they go in and use gamma, it automatically makes gamma have to be seen because there's a checkbox in it, or there's a change to it or something like that.
Yeah, and we discussed this as well, and the reason that there's like a little bit of an asterisk with that is, yeah, we could absolutely do that. And then we'd hide gamma, and then you'd go into xLights, and then you push your config, and then it pushed gamma, and then it's going to reactivate your column, and you're going to be like, WTF, why is my gamma column showing up again, right? So it's just not behavior that would be clean or expected, which would prompt questions of like, why I keep hiding this column, why does it keep coming back, Not a bad idea. There is a solution. There's always a solution, right? But just saying, we take a lot of time on user experience. It's something that's very important to us.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then another thing. Well, let's go. It was brought up. Let's go through some config. How about that?
Absolutely.
So one of the things that people that are new don't realize is you don't actually need to be in this web interface ever. It's here, and primarily I think more for the advanced user than anything, but really you don't need it because you can do all of this within xLights. So you select the vendor for, so we're on the controllers tab here. You're going to add a new Ethernet controller, select experience lights from the vendor, select the model of the controller. These are the 5 different controller models that we have. I'm dealing with the 32 port here. Enter in the IP address, and I always recommend DDP, way more efficient. If you want to get into the whys, we can talk about that, but way more efficient, way fewer packets. And as you're drawing your all of your different models in the layout here, for each of these, you can go into the visualizer and you just drag it to where they're connected. So that's on port 5, that's on port 8. And you can see the matrix spans lots of different ports because it's broken up into strings of 50. That's right. Yeah, nodes a string is 50. Yeah, so it automatically breaks that out. And then you can just do upload output and it will go to the IP address. It will configure everything for you. So if I go to the outputs page, there's my stuff. And I tend to tell people, like, don't even bother going in the web UI when xLights makes it so stinking easy, right? Everything can be done in xLights and it pushes everything straight to here. And look, even the brightness, gamma, reverse, nulls, all that stuff, you can do through the web interface, or excuse me, through the interface within xLights. Under the, oh, here we go, controller connection, right? So you can set the brightness. So on this line here, we'll set the brightness to 50%. Save that, upload, refresh, boom, 50%. So there's really no need to do anything in this web UI. And the other really cool thing is if you're coming the reverse, meaning you're coming from the controller to xLights, we need to advance this out of beta because it's stinking cool. You can actually download a fully configured xLights folder with everything already done, including the network configuration. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here real quick. So let's just say, for an example, you did all your, you went to the current monitoring tab, you did the pixel counts, and it counted all the pixels on all your outputs. And you set all of the outputs here. You download the quick start beta, and I'm going to change this folder to this one that I just downloaded. So this is straight from, this whole folder is straight from the web interface. It downloaded my network configuration, and I know it didn't look like it, but, and it downloaded a different line for each of my outputs. So this may not look interesting at first, but to a new person, they can now go into their sequencer and start sequencing this immediately. What is more likely is going to happen is you're going to be like, okay, well, on my output 0, 1, where I have single line, so it took everything that was defined in here and built this layout of strings, right? And what you would do is like, well, actually, no, I have a leaping arch on here, is you, where is it? Replace. So you go in, you say, well, I've already have all my pixel counts, and then you replace the model in your layout with the one that you actually have. So if we did replace this with this model, maybe I'm doing the wrong one. I just updated to the latest version, so I might be looking at this wrong. How do you replace this one, Clyde?
So do you have, what model do you want to replace it with?
Well, let's just like the PPD wreath.
Okay, so you have to have the PPD wreath in the layout.
Okay, I
You
gotta
have to
do
download it. So
It-
pick any
in what-
model, download it. So just pick any model from the download. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think this must have changed then, because I don't think it was that way before, but
Well, the replace a model with a model always relies on the fact that you start with the model you want to take over. So just pick something. Yeah. So now what you you would need to know which
I see.
exact model. There you
yeah,
go.
yeah. So well, that didn't do what I expected. I need to create a pull request. The idea would be, oh, it did do it. Sorry, it did do it. So this is on model on output 1 now.
Correct.
On that. Yeah.
Yeah, the only
Ideally-
downside is the name is called single string or single line. You have to change all of the names. So,
Yeah, you'd have to change them.
but but in general, that's a great way to get started. Period. Get all your models in there, and then you can
Yep.
replace them.
So if you have stuff wired up, let's just kind of walk through this, right? You have your props physically wired to your controller. You count the pixels. It puts all the pixel counts in your outputs. You download the xLights folder. It's already configured for you. Ideally, I could have sworn this was this way before, but maybe I'm thinking differently, is there was a replace this with something else, then it brought up the download folder and you could replace that thing with whatever you wanted. Because that's the ideal scenario, right? Is to say, okay, well, this is port 1, right? Replace this with the PPD wreath or whatever it is that's actually hooked up to that port. But
I don't think that's an unreasonable feature request. That I never thought of that.
But then if you take out the replacing, put your feet into the newbie's shoes. What's really neat about this still is you do a pixel count, you download the xLights folder, and you drag and you create a new sequence with all of your butterflies. And you're outputting lights, right? Like that's the whole goal is we reduce the time to aha. Like how fast can you get someone to say, ooh, I get it, Count the pixels, download the xLights folder, create a sequence. And that's kind of it. So we're going to create a video on this because quite literally, when you talk about the joke of September, getting this in the mail to downloading some PPD sequences and getting them installed, it sounds so cliche. It's never been faster and easier. It really hasn't. It's really makes it really clean to get set up with very minimal stress.
Barrier to entry has never been lower.
That's a great way to put it. I love it. And like I said, like there's cool stuff in this interface, especially like testing, you can, we have all of our different test patterns. We're going to have a way to like create your own and save test patterns, be able to, hide anything that's unused, be able to select the different ports that you want to test. Just a lot of really neat things. However, a controller is meant to control lights. That's its primary role. So we want to do that. We want to do it well. And that is our primary concern, is get to the point where you can control your light show quickly. And what's really fun is I just got something really cool. So I don't know, Clyde, if you could BS for just a couple minutes while I open this box.
Well, we enjoy and as a matter of fact, we really appreciate doing a live unboxing of whatever it is that's sitting on your desk.
Oh, I hope it's not a moving headlight.
Oh man,
It's
if it's
not.
if it's a moving headlight, then he's found the easiest way to do it. So
Yeah. I've seen a ton of them things online already.
No,
well, that's because we all started sequencing them now. So
they look
Yeah, it's
amazing.
true.
Once you start seeing those in person, it's so all right. This is exciting. This is our first but not last,
This is a PPD exclusive right
is a
here.
PPD exclusive. Nobody knows about this. Well, very few people know about this. This is our first retail product. This is inboxed, ready to provide to anyone that wants to chase AC lights. It is Wi-Fi enabled and allows you to in web sequence AC lights and have it run on a schedule. So it's called the G-Fade, gfade.com. It's going to be available at Christmas Light Emporium. And this is, you have no idea how, how exciting this makes me, because this is like a real, this isn't just a PCB anymore, right? This is like real world stuff. So this is exciting. You know, if you guys know anything about us, we like to push the limits, right, of what we can do. And we're doing a whole new line of retail stuff. And this is just the first. So it's very exciting. So yeah, we're can't wait.
That is really cool. So what's the load or capacity that you can put per channel per output?
So I will say this is not going to be for our average DIY hobbyist. This is going to be primarily for commercial, really. If you know anything about chasers, like AC chasers, they haven't really advanced at all since the 90s. They're very, very basic. So this is kind of the first advancement in AC chasers in, you know, maybe a decade or two. So it's pretty exciting stuff. It's going to be primarily for commercial, where they need to create custom AC animations, which actually is quite common, and they can't do it with existing solutions. They'd need to, you know, there's like flash tracks, if you guys are familiar with that. So this is a standalone unit that they can plug in, design their little animation, hit save, schedule it to run on a schedule, and it just goes. The current capacity is 12 amps of AC.
Total or per channel?
Total.
Okay, cool.
8 amp max per channel, 12 amp through the whole box. And we always underrate, you know, we like to do that. We tested it much higher, but just underrating it.
That is definitely rather cool. We look forward to a live demo sometime coming up, maybe this fall.
Yeah, I think what we can do is maybe do something
Mhm.
with a Christmas Light Emporium with Darren Vader, if you guys are up for it. He's going to be carrying these in his store. It's going to be pretty exciting. So I'm very giddy about seeing that. This is the first time I've seen one of our products in a retail box. Like, this is like, we have a legit UPC, you know, registered. This is it. This is exciting. This is super exciting. Made my night. Okay, where were we?
All right. Yeah, where were we?
When will I find it at my local Home Depot? Closer, sooner than you might think, actually. Yeah, it's on the roadmap for sure.
So as far as the Pro line's been out since when? When did the Pro line start? When did it get
Well,
shelves?
we announced the Pro line actually in January. You know, it's funny is, you know, we're already, you know, now planning what we're doing next year, right? We already have it kind of planned out. You know, we as soon as we launch something, we're on to the next thing. So we announced all of the new features, the Genius mounting, the fuseless design with the eFuse. We announced all that stuff in January. We showed it off at Trans World, but we just launched, officially releasing it, you know, shipping units just after Expo. So August, yeah, so just a couple months. We've sold out twice since then, which is a great problem to have, but it's also very stressful. You know, as you never really know how much stock that you're supposed to get. We thought that we were overbuying twice. We thought we were overbuying, and we were wrong on both accounts. So that's a great problem to have, but we have more on the way. You know, like the Pro 32, I think, is sold out now, but they should have more in like a week or two. And I think the 4-port receivers, if Lee was on here, he could kind of tell you more. There's a few things that we're waiting more stock on. V2 Clickets, we can't keep those in stock fast enough. They can't make them fast enough. We've basically told them keep pushing it out every 2 weeks, make as many as you can. It's not keeping up with demand, so they're building more machines to make them faster. So if you do have orders with V2 Clickets, we're hopefully expecting our next batch here in the next couple days. Will they ever be Chris L? Yeah, they are protected actually. You can't see it. He asked if these will be protected. These are all coated with a clear coat. So this is all waterproof. So they are protected. What was I saying? Lost my train of thought. So I appreciate everyone's hard work. The controllers and receivers have been great to work with. Oh, thanks, Scott. No, that is the biggest compliment, by the way, is when somebody that is new to the hobby says how easy it was to use our products. You know, a lot of people that are veterans get not mad, but they don't love that these things are getting easier, and that's fine because this product is not for them, right? But when a new person to the hobby comes in and they say how easy it was to use, like Pixel to DMX, definitely just a clear runaway winner. People love that just because it's so easy. You just plug it into a Pixel line, you have DMX output. That is the biggest compliment to me. So I really appreciate you guys saying that.
No, I think that's wonderful because you're right, because there are a number of people in the hobby who have always been, well, you didn't have to work as hard as I did. That's not fair. So they get upset, they get kind of curmudgeon and grumpy because, oh man, I had to spend all year learning it, which I did. Let's go back 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I did have to spend an entire year learning this stuff. Not only that, but you couldn't just go to like Wizard Wire or Matos or anybody. You couldn't just order a Falcon. There was no Falcon 10 years ago. There was no
spend all the time to watch all the Clyde videos.
Well, there was no Clyde videos.
Oh yeah,
before there were 0 videos whenever I started, and the only videos that came out were ones where I said, "Hey, look, I made it work. Check this out." Everybody's like, "Oh, how'd you do it?" And so making it easier it's incredible to say this. No matter how easy though we make this. No matter how easy that you push this down the road, there's always going to be parts of it that's going to be confusing and challenging to cover every base. So the thing
that PPD is doing just on the sequencing side to make that easier too. I mean, that's been, just think about where it was versus now, right? You know, importing a sequence and mapping it's never been easier.
But it's a whole list of people that have been working, like the developers, behind the scenes and just doing small things, sitting in a room, being quiet, listening to people complain about or having fighting with an issue, or you know, some of us have issues with this or that, and you hear the frustration, and as soon as they're like, aha, that's, I gotta fix it. And then that's what happened with the controller upload. That was 2018. The controller upload hit. It wasn't 100% reliable until 2019, and then all of a sudden by 2019 everybody was, oh, can you get this in there, can you get that in there? And then 2020 we saw the change, and we saw the biggest change, which was the controller tab. We went from a setup tab to a controller tab, and having vendors as opposed to just throwing an E131 universe in there. Now nobody knows what a universe is, and you don't have to teach it anymore because it's being, you know, completely wiped off the map. But there's still plenty of frustration and still plenty of errors to make, because there's just like you said, we don't hide you can't hide things in xLights. If you do, people can't find them, and if you can't find them, use the right click menu and you'll probably find them. Right. So no, absolutely. Go ahead, Rob.
One thing I'll say is I think I've used almost every one of your guys. I say you guys, I feel so cheated, Lee. If you're out there listening,
I feel so alone. He's normally there to like pick me up when I don't know the answers.
But I think I've used almost every single one of your guys' products, and I've had 0 issues that I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, that's
there
awesome.
was one time with a U5, but that's neither here nor there.
Hey, that was quality control. That's fine.
I still got the branding.
The
On my
scars
fingers.
to prove it. For those who aren't aware, on Pixel 2 AC9, the first version, when I was testing it, I sent it out to some people, including Rob Vannersdale, before it was released. And there was a power component on there at U5 that got very, very hot. And Robert has the scars to prove it.
Yeah, and David made me touch it numerous times to verify that it was still scalding hot.
And then as if I remember correctly, this became part of the QC process over in China when you were having the boards built.
It did. I said, touch U5. Make sure it's not hot.
If
And
the
then I'm on
U5's hot, then-
on my way to vacation this year, and we're driving, and I'm starting to unwind from the stress of Christmas lights for the year. And there's a U5 mini mart that came out of nowhere, and the stress level came right back. But one thing I will say is this year was the first year that I've used one of the in and out Pi Hat boards, and I know a lot of people, and trust me, when it comes to doing triggers and stuff like that, I know it could be a lot really overwhelming on a lot of things. But I will say the in and out board, hands down, was one of the simplest things. I mean, I'm used to hooking things to GPIOs and that with little cables and that. If anybody out there wants to get into triggers, and I think David and Lee have a ton of different interactivity sensors. I think you guys have motion sensors and buttons and push pads and probably everything else that you can think. That's something worth taking a look at. If there's something like, hey, I want my donation box. I think this would be like a really easy one that you get the in and out hat, and you can probably do the motion thing. And when somebody puts something through the slot, to whether it's a card for Santa or money coming in, the sensor would be broken, maybe even two lasers. And when that's broken, it does something. It says thank you, lights up thank you, or Santa chuckles and laughs, or whatever it may be. But I will say, from doing different interactivity things and then using the in and out board just out of curiosity that killed the cat was absolutely amazing. It was so simple. Little test lights light up both ways on the boards to let you know that you actually hooked the things up right. I mean, so many things was put into that. I just wanted to say hats off to you and Lee on that one, David, because it
Awesome.
was really easy to use. And like I said, just the little lights that lit up to let you know that, hey, you actually made a connection here. Pat yourself on the back. And then there was something else, and I had to watch a video of David, and it was a horrific video of him.
Was that the one with the little
button.
pirate ship?
Anything I remember was it was like the bane of my existence. I don't even remember what it was now in the video, but that was a good part that I chuckled at numerous times. I don't even know what you were doing.
I don't remember either. That's pretty funny.
But it was something in the video. You were like screaming. But no, so interactivity things. I mean, there's. I know this is just about controllers, but there are other things on the website to take a look at. I mean, even if you just want a cool hat with splooge on it, they have them on there as well. So,
It's a
back to
family
you.
show.
Oh,
Just a
now
reminder,
you're
it's
gonna
a
get
family show.
you're gonna get censored on YouTube now.
Yeah, that was 3 long, hard years of trying to get YouTube built up. Thanks, Rob.
But you have, so I think I heard it briefly, but you do have all your receivers of that in stock, right? It's the controllers that you don't? Or you don't?
I think I don't know the answer. I
Does
believe
it
the
say it on the website? If I click, does it say in stock, out of stock?
Okay. Here's the thing. So like I was saying, we are just getting ramped up in this new warehouse, including new processes. So I don't have 100% clarity where we are on stock right at this present moment.
Okay.
Regardless of whether we are out of stock or not, which we may be on some things, we are like expecting more in like a week. So of everything. So we should be fine very, very shortly.
So I think what David's trying to say is if you go to his website and you scroll down, there's a thing that says join our mailing list. And I assume they'll probably send out an email when everything's back in stock,
Yes.
or if it goes out of stock. So that's a great place to start if you want information and to be
Yes.
first at it. And you can be that person in the xLights group, like when pies come on sale in places and they go and post them and they're gone in 5 minutes. You could be that experienced light person, like, hey, Experience Light 16s are back in stock. Oh, and now they're not. Like, you could be that person and encourages them on. So
There's a couple questions there, and there's a couple questions there in chat. So Brian asked, he said he joined super late. Curious if the Dragon controller firmware can we get that from the Experience website?
Not yet. There hasn't been any Dragon firmware controller releases yet. We are, why change one thing? Why not change everything? We're creating a new build process now too for all of our firmware versions, including the Dragon. So that will be available. I don't know if it's going to be on our website or through Matos Designs. I need to talk to JR and see how he wants to handle that, but there are going to be different binaries, different firmwares for the Dragon than there are for the Genius line. Yeah.
All right. Brandon asked, he says he's a first timer here, and he has the Genius Pro 32. Can you give a quick explanation on playing a show from an SD card?
Not there yet. So we will definitely be putting out a video once that's ready. It will be this year, where you can play animations from the SD card on any of the new or previous Genius controllers. So
So
you
coming
put it
soon.
up.
fast.
Yeah.
Coming
It was
soon.
supposed to be last year.
So
There's a lot of things that were supposed to be the last year, and time really got the better of us.
Now,
so-
is there audio or just animation? I heard
No,
you
there
say-
will never be audio. And so again, like I said, we try to create very purpose-built hardware. And what we don't want to do is create a show player. That is not the intent. Playing the sequence data on the SD card is a way to improve performance so that you don't have to get the network data, right? So you can do sync packets, or you can just play the animation directly from the SD card, but no audio.
So basically, if you had a remote prop, let's say it's let's just say it's a crazy giant Tune2 sign with 32 outputs of Tune2. Okay, you could have it playing an animation only standalone.
Correct.
Perfect.
But
But
I heard
that's
you
coming
say sync
soon.
package.
It's coming soon.
Yep.
But I heard you say sync package.
The-
so
the-
you can
which-
put the
So
V2 sparse onto this, and FPP and xScheduler can send remote commands over to it and make it play the sequence.
Well, version wise, it's only going to be version 1. We haven't gotten the performance to a point where we can work with anything else. So your file size is going to be larger with the version 1s, but yeah. it will-
version 1 FSEQ, is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay, but it will take multi-sync commands of that.
Correct.
Perfect.
Yep.
That was something I didn't know. And Brian, yes, that's what it was. The bane of David's existence are the covers on a Cat5 cable.
Now you remember. Yeah. So this is all of my. I didn't do that one. It's so annoying. Yeah, like this is what all of my cords end up doing. I curse
off.
her
cut them
invented
off.
stupid thing.
Mhm.
It just creates pain.
They do fantastic jobs at what they do but whenever you need to plug and unplug things, yeah, I cut them off.
Yeah, it drives me.
So
drives me.
Todd asked a question. He says, on the Genius Pro 8-port receivers, can you have 5-volt and 12-volt power supply hooked up to it?
Yes. Actually, so as far as I know, and somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, we are the only full gamut 5 to 24-volt receivers and controllers. And when I say full, if you put in 5-volt, like on other receivers, you'll get voltage drop on the data line because it uses a linear regulator. 5 volts in creates 4.5 or 4.3 out. Ours have full gamut. If you do 5 volt in, you will get 5 volts out. If you have 24 volts in, well, it does bucket down to 5 volts for the data line, obviously. But the point is, you have the full range. So if you were using the 8-port and you wanted to do 5 volts on one bank and 12 volts on the other bank, it's totally fine.
So
So
I
a
just
note
wanted to.
is, today is Talk Like a Pirate Day, and I think
Garr.
that David should continue as such.
Listen, you scurvy dogs. I don't even know how to do. I don't even know how to do a pirate. I got to do like Johnny Depp. We actually hired a pirate for one of our nights, he was fantastic. Johnny Depp impersonator. It's really good. That will work with FPP as a multi-sync remote then too. Yes, that is the intent. So we have Scott Hansen has been helping us with that. So.
And somebody said Brian. So I did the laser thing from xLights last year when it broke the beam and showed thank you on the matrix. See, and I'm sure, Brian, it probably took you like 0 time to hook it up, because I'm telling you that in and out board is, no pun intended, genius. So come on, David, you're a child actor. Oh, that is true. He was a child actor for the Boy Scouts of America commercial, if I remember correctly.
I told you that in confidence.
So
The only thing sad is we can't find the footage, but I am going to reach out to the CEO and that of the Boy Scouts of America and see if there's any kind of like vault that I can go dig in.
I actually have the digital file right here.
David thinks he's pulling his 33 club and that when he gets in there. I'm going to get into the secret side of Boy Scouts and find this video footage. Well, maybe Scott has it. Oh, Scott started sharing video, so I thought maybe Scott had like the Boy Scout. I was getting excited. I was like, oh.
Scott is under strict NDA with anything relating to Boy Scouts.
But not the Girl Scouts. Okay, Scott, spill it.
No, sorry, I was getting out of my car and I hit the button.
Okay. We were talking about footage and I saw your video come on, and I'm telling you, if you would have like put in like an old VCR tape and had the footage, you would have been the heat of the moment right there.
I have a USB drive that has all of my old videos on it. The bidding starts at $3,000.
Well, are there any more questions here in the chat? Go ahead and throw them in chat. If you're on YouTube, there's still a number of people on YouTube. There's still a number of people on Facebook following along. I would suggest jumping in our Zoom room. Go to pixelprodisplays.com, and when you do, at the top of the screen, you'll look for the link at the top of the page that says learning. Click on that and it'll say PPD Zoom webinar. If you hover down there, you can get into the Zoom room here. That's real simple. We're going to end the live broadcast because David has some exciting things that he's going to share with only the 71 people that happen to be in the Zoom room right now. So before we take off, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody that joined us tonight. If you're out there in YouTube land, thank you for joining us. Facebook, thank you for joining us. Come on into the room if you want to hang out and find out what the special announcement that Dave is going to give just the people that are in the room tonight. Special option. He's going to let us in on that. But thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up on Facebook and on YouTube. Remember that our goal is to get to 4,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. So go over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button. We're closing in on it. We're so close. I want to get there before but I'd love to get there before the end of the month. So if you're watching, if you are learning, and if you're picking things up from the things that we're doing here at Pixel Pro Displays, consider hitting the subscribe button and also join us in the Zoom room. So for you in YouTube and you on Facebook, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Guys, take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Facebook, don't worry. He already ended the YouTube stream. I still love you guys out there. Don't worry about it. Clyde, he's only YT. That's all he cares about. I worry about you guys. FB all the way. All right. Rob out.